But why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? What led you into that profession growing up
Mm,
in Boston?
mm,
Which, by the way, on my tour to the US, that was one of my last stops. And one of the first times I think I've been to Boston. That place
mm.
is cold in the winter, bro.
I'm
Just
I'm
gotta
going
say.
I'm going back in I'm going back in 2 days. So and
Yeah.
it's cold there in the winter for sure.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for having me on. You've been on my show once. We're gonna get you back on again. So it's
Yeah.
amazing to be able to go onto your platform and speak to a completely new audience. The short version is I'm from the greater Boston area.
Mhm.
And just at the age of 6, and I grew up with 2 rabbis in my house, a Reconstructionist rabbi and a Reform rabbi. So since birth, I've been around Jewish elements, my house, uh, songs, Shabbat, holidays, synagogue, tradition, my friends, my environment was in a very beautiful way Jewish, and it's also in my name. I'm named after my grandfather, who actually he died 2 weeks before I was born, so I never met him. His name was Bernie. His Hebrew name was Baruch, and I'm named after him as Barak. And so, for me, it's a blessing to be named after somebody in the family per tradition there. So I've always taken a lot of pride in my Judaism, in my identity, in my name, and coming from a house of 2 rabbis. You can imagine a lot of that being sort of around you 24/7, sometimes a little bit too much, but in a way that they've done so beautifully. And then at the age of 6, my dad was on a program to study in Israel, which brought our family over, my brother and I, my parents. And I lived in Jerusalem for 2 years. This happened to be during the Second Intifada. So as a
Mhm.
6-year-old coming from the greater Boston area, I got exposed to the Middle East at its finest in one of its most challenging times. In you could call it the past few decades. I'm not going to go here and compare things, but the Second Intifada was a bloody and difficult time, in especially in Jerusalem. So
Mhm.
I saw some things as a 6-year-old that really really exposed my eyes to a completely different life, and in a weird way made me feel even more attached to this place. So we went back to the States.